Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Shelby Garage. Today we're going to go ahead and install a new clutch cable in our white 1995 Dodge Neon. With the cost of the aftermarket units, there's no reason not to install a Mopar unit for about the same cost, so I picked up this one off of Amazon for a little over $100, which is roughly the same price you'd pay at AutoZone or O'Reilly's, etc. To get started, we're going to go ahead and pull off the power distribution center. I always use a small screwdriver to pry back these little tabs. It's especially useful on this car since one of them is broken off and you can't really press it in, so the screwdriver is pretty much a necessity. Once the power distribution center is out of the way, you can see the dust and water cover over the trans here. Pull the tab on it and it'll pop right off. Next, you can pull the cable straight back and then up and over the hump on the trans out of the slot for the cable there so it can come through. At this point, the cable should come right off of the lever, and mine was a pretty special looking cable, so there was absolutely no issue with that, that's for sure. Can you tell that this car was owned by a frugal engineer before I picked it up? It's plain to see that this is the case when you go ahead and look at this clutch cable. The cables have a built-in spring tensioner that takes up the slack as the cable stretches over time. This one's been modified by shortening it and then swedging the cable back together. It also got a good little wooden stop there that's been added. My favorite part's how relatively the ball end looks on this thing, even though it's been moved back and modified too. Here we go. At this point, it's time to get under the dash and free the cable from the clutch lever. There's a black piece which allows the ball of the cable to ride in it, and then the plastic piece slips over the stud for the clutch pedal. Pry off the plastic piece with a screwdriver, and then you can either push out the ball with a small tool or wiggle it around until it comes free like I did. But I don't know, if you got smaller hands and the ability to get under there easily, it'd be a lot faster to just push it out with a little screwdriver. The factory service manual has a pretty poor diagram for both ends of the cable. It's really hard to make out how everything should ride in the clutch end of things especially. Since it's impossible to get a camera under the dash or in position to show the clutch lever in the case without pulling everything out of the car, this is about the best I can do for you. Here's this diagram. Notice my critique of the material and its educational use. In your face, copyright laws. Now let's go ahead and move on from the cable to the firewall side here. It's as easy as twisting the rubber piece back and forth a bit, according to the factory service manual, which apparently was written by someone with the hands of a 9-year-old girl. I ended up filling with rage and going Hulk smash style on the cable and pulling vigorously until it came free, jabbing the swaged end of the cable into my hand and causing the rage to only increase. It took some time for that to subside, so I'm not sure that I'd necessarily recommend that. At the same time, you do what you got to do to get it done, guys. Just give it a good yank, and that's about as good as you can do. Alright, since the cables are known for rubbing through where the trans mount sits, I decided to go ahead and shield this one with some silicone vacuum hose that I had lying around. I cut it with some scissors and held it in place with some zip ties. It's relatively simple. Fortunately, the rigged cable that was already in the car had some duct tape doing this job already. I'm assuming that it had rubbed through. So I went ahead and put it in the same approximate spot and cinched it down. Honestly, I was probably a little close to the firewall side, although where the hose is on there will definitely stop it from rubbing through, I would say. With the cable armored up and everything free and clear of the firewall, you can go ahead and push the new cable in with relative ease. Not really a problem there. Twisting back and forth once you get all the pieces that were left off after Hulk smashing actually does work fairly well in the installation into things. I did lubricate the cable a little bit though, so I did cheat some from what the factory service manual says to do, but nonetheless, no big deal. At this point, I put the cable into the plastic retainer piece and secured it into the stud on the clutch pedal. Then I went ahead and put the washers over the throw-out bearing lever at the clutch end. All that's left to do at this point is to pull the cable back and drop it into place in the hole there. It might take a little shifting back and forth to get it to drop into the hole fully. It looked like that was sort of keyed, but I don't know that it really is, to be frank. I think it's just got a little bit of a tang on the end of the clutch cable there. Now once you do that, you can go ahead and replace the splash and dust shield on there. Check that the car won't move on its own, that you don't have the cable locked somehow back. That shouldn't be the case, but you never know. And then make sure that once you push in the cable, that it will go ahead and release and you can go again. Just give it a quick test in neutral, then put it in gear, try and go a little bit. You don't want to get out on the road only to find that the cable's going to pop off or that it's not seated properly, that'll let you push in the clutch and disengage but won't let you re-engage. That'd be the worst, to have to push it over to the side of the road for something as simple like that. Well, now that we've got all this on and we're ready to go, that's going to be it for the day. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and what have you. Should be getting to the Turbo New Yorker soon. Going to be having the big brakes in full effect with a new master cylinder. So check back soon, guys. Going to be more to come. That's it for the Shelby Garage. On to bigger and better things.